Hello guys and welcome to Car Blog India. This is your host Tarun and here we have the new Audi A6 with us. It now gets a 45 TFSI petrol engine. It has grown bigger, it has grown more stylish, more aggressive, and there's tons of features upgrade over here. So how's the Audi A6 TFSI in performance inside the cabin, from the outside? Let's get you answers to all these questions in our review. So stay tuned till the end of this video. So as you can see here, people talk about the grille of BMW increasing. Well, I can see even Audi has increased the front grille over here. There's this multiple chrome slat grille, the 4 rings, new LED headlamps that you get that are integrated with DRLs and the indicators as well. Now moving on, as you can see, these are 4 air dams with sensors present over here. This is the integrated body kit that you get over here. So these are the new 18-inch alloy wheels that the Audi A6 gets. It's futuristic, very good looking, better than ever actually, and plus the wheel arches are so big that you can fit up to a 22-inch wheel inside the Audi A6. Here it gets these electric ORVMs with heated technology. This is the keyless entry, so if you don't have your key in your hand, in your pocket or in your bag, then you just have to press this and you can see the car has been unlocked, or you can just press this, pull this, actually the door handle, the car will be unlocked and you get this keyless entry on all the 4 doors. Now coming at the back, it gets these wraparound LED tail lamps which are very sleek, very sharp, very good looking. Here's the 45 TFSI badging, the 4 rings again, and the A6 badging. At the back you get a nice look which is better than the earlier A6 and now copies the A8L. As you can see, these are sensors that are present on the back as well, and here's the body kit that flows even at the back. If you see the boot space here, it's very nice, very spacious. You can easily fit some 5 to 6 suitcases inside the boot over here. Now that I've shown you the exteriors of this car, let's talk about all the things that you get inside the cabin and how is it to drive. So now let's get inside the cabin of the Audi A6. As you can see, it's better than ever, more premium, more jazzy, I can say. Now switched on the car over here. It's well lit. The cabin looks very premium actually, and always, like earlier, Audi's cabins are a bit understated, but here that seems to have disappeared easily. So here's a new steering wheel that you get. It's four spoke steering wheel, and here's the horn. On the right you have the music control options, the call option, voice assist. On the left you have the controls to change the settings of the MID. Here are the paddle shifters over here, and these are for your wipers and automatic headlamps, and this is for the cruise control. These are the buttons for the headlamp. These basically, this function over here switches on all weather lights, and this is the automatic headlamp. This is for the rear fog lamps. This over here, it gets electrically adjustable seat with memory function. So this is for the driver number 1, or probably configuration number 1, configuration number 2. Now moving on to the MID, it gets a fully new all digital virtual cockpit. One of the best things about the Audi cars I like. As you can see here, there's a lot of things to look at, a lot of information that you can get here. Yep. On the left you have the meter for the temperature, on the right you have the fuel reading, on the left you have this tachometer, there's a speedometer, there's the MID in between, there are trip meters, and this temperature present over here. In between you get which mode and which gear you are parked on, and while it gets analog speedometer also, in between you can see the digital speed as well. Now coming on to the center console, this is one of the most affordable cars from Audi to get this dual touchscreen infotainment system over here. Here's a 10.1 inch infotainment system which gets the radio, media, telephone navigation, everything else. You can work with Apple CarPlay over here. The infotainment looks very classy to use, very smooth, there's no lag. However, you have to press longer or press a bit hard on this surface for it to work. If you just press it very lightly, it does not work. See, you have to press it long and then only it works. Now this over here is for the climate control, and you can see there's the automatic start stop system, parking assist, rear windscreen, and such controls available over here. But mainly this is for the climate control only. As you can see, I switched on the AC. You can set the levels of the fan, the blower, the temperature, and in which direction do you need most of the air coming in, and everything else. Here's the drive selector that you can see over here. So now we are in auto. If you click efficiency, you can see the FP and efficiency over here. If you click on comfort, you see the comfort over here. If you click on dynamic, again dynamic over here. So let's just keep at auto for the time being. Here's the button for traction control. It's switched on as standard. However, if you want to switch it off, just press it. And stabilization control ESC has been switched off. Here's for the rear defoggers. This is for the parking assist over here. Here's the rear view camera of the Audi A6. It does not get a 360-degree camera, but it still gets sensors on all the sides. So here you can see it gets sensors in the front, on the right fender, on the back fenders. However, on the side you don't get anything over here. On the door side you don't have any sensors working. The quality of the camera is good, it's not that pixelated, and you also have a reversing camera cleaner. See, water being splashed. And this is all the driver aids, the assist for the driver. You have a speed warning, lane departure warning, and rest recommendations. I have switched on the rest recommendation, as you can see. So this is gear of the Audi A6. It gets a 7-speed DSG. This is now in parking mode, and if you just press this button over here, you can shift it to D, N, R, N, You can see it shifting over here. If you press the down gear twice, it goes on to sport mode. You can see over here. And if you want to just go on parking again, press this. So if you have this button, this is the electronic parking brake. However, the Audi A6 gets auto hold function as standard fitment, and this is the auto start stop system that we have activated over here. This was all about the technology that you get on the Audi A6 in the front. Further, there's this vanity mirror with a lamp. Then there's a cigarette lighter, ashtray present, a cooled cup holder. Then there's an integrated wireless charger found over here, two USB sockets and an SD card slotting space present on the rear armrest, center armrest, sorry. And if you see the cabin of the Audi A6, it gets very protruding elements over here. They come out, they can be seen easily, but it still looks very subtle over here. So there's a soft touch leather material that comes above dashboard. Then there's black insert, plastic black insert, which are again soft touch materials seen bordering the AC vents. Then this is a gloss piano black insert seen on the center console system, and that is adorned by this wood veneer, which is not forward fake wood, it's proper wood veneer found over here. Now it also gets these lamps over here, an electric sunroof. There's only a single button for the operation over here. And this was how the front of the Audi A6 looks like. Now let's check out what it has to offer at the back. Now let's switch on to the back seat of the Audi A6. As you can see here, I have an ample amount of knee space over here. The under thigh support is also fantastic. Yes, I am a lot comfortable even if I'm seated at the back. However, if you can see this tunnel over here, the central tunnel, makes things for the second passenger or the between passenger a bit too harsh. So I would like to say that this car is better suited for two people only. The third person can be a child who's sitting over here, but he'll have to keep his legs, one leg here, one leg here. Now this is the individual AC control unit that you get. It gets a 4-zone climate control, so you have separate ACs for every passenger, for every person who's sitting inside the car. Here's the whole AC control unit. I have switched on to auto. You can see here is to adjust the temperature, here is to adjust the blower level, and now switched off. Further, you get two USB socket at the front, that makes it 4 USB sockets over the car. Then there's a cigarette lighter again over here. At the back you get this magazine holder and a nice sunscreen shade over here that comes as standard fitment with the car. And the last thing over here is this rear center armrest, which gets a space where you can keep your phones, your keys in between. You have to open this, and this is dedicated cooled bottle holders that is retractable, as you can see over here. So now take a nice look at the cabin of the Audi A6. Even from the back here, I feel that the cabin gives out some classy bits about itself and shows that no longer Audi has an understated cabin. It looks fantastic from here. And yes, what I was talking about is this middle tunnel. You can see I can't put my leg. I'll be very uncomfortable, so I'll have to sit like this only. So the Audi A6 gets a 45 TFSI engine, which replaces the earlier 35 TFSI and the now defunct TDI engine. So the 2-liter 4-cylinder TSI turbo petrol motor is capable of producing 245 bhp and 370 Nm of peak torque. It does not get the quattro drivetrain. It's a regular front wheel drive version that you have over here, and the transmission duties are handled by a 7-speed DSG gearbox. What Audi A6 tries to establish here is that it's a mix of both the worlds, a driver's car and a chauffeur's car as well. The mid-range is very strong and very capable. After 2000 RPM, the turbo starts kicking in and you experience the pushback effect coming in right at you. You actually have to cling on to the steering wheel because the effect is so high. There's no turbo lag felt at any given point in this engine. The low end torque generation I found is one of the great highlights of this engine. It feels like the car is built for the city commuting as well. It does not irritate you with that. While the juice of the engine is above 2000 RPM, even if you're traveling at 1500 RPM, you'll feel that the engine is not at all underpowered. Now, these were the times where I was driving in a relaxed manner. That's when I decided I had to test out the engine. So I switched on the sport mode, went flat out, and it revs up nicely, smoothly till 6500, 7000 RPM. That's where the red line is. And what I found about this engine is, yes, that it has that power. It is exceedingly fast for you to transform this car into a driver's enthusiast. It further gets 4 driving modes, which includes eco, comfort, dynamic and auto. Now this is one of the very few cars that I can say where I found that the eco engine was also very peppy, and there's no lethargic throttle response in the eco mode, although you won't feel much difference between the comfort mode and the sport mode. Yes, the throttle responses are not that different in both the times. The throttle response is sharp. It's just the gear shifting lag, the in-gear shifting lag reduces in the sport mode. Best time it would be to drive in comfort mode or auto mode also, because you have that punch available in both the modes as well. However, if you want to use the sport mode, we would advise you to go with the paddle shifters because the complete experience just makes you bonkers. I would say the biggest highlight of this car has to be the refinement levels of its engine. It's far superior, far better than a lot of cars in this segment and in other segment. So you can barely hear the engine noise even if you are standing on idle or even if you have just switched on the ignition. You can't actually even feel like the car is on idle, and you have to check sometime, or either just go take a look at the RPM to see, yes, if the car is running or not. And till 2500, 3000 RPM, you still don't hear the engine noise coming in. Post 3500 or 4000 RPM, I can say, then there's some bit of engine noise coming in, but for that level you already might have crossed triple digit speed. So in short, in the normal regular city driving conditions, you won't feel the engine noise coming in. That also brings me to the cabin insulation, which is also impressive over here. The road noise is quite filtered. You can't hear anything outside the car. Even if you haven't switched on the music, you can still barely hear the noise from the outside. Although if you start going on some coarser surfaces, then you'll hear the tire noise seeping in. But for that, you just kick on its premium Bang & Olufsen speakers, switch on the AC, and you have literally a teacher's class of pin drop silence. The 7-speed DSG gearbox of the Audi A6 is, as usual, very smooth to operate, quick to shift, and keeps you excited all the time. And there's no in-gear shifting lag found at all. No jerks found while the gears are shifting. You can barely even see when the gears are going up and down. That's one of the best things that I like about a DSG gearbox. Now there are some times where I was say above 3000 RPM and I decided to go flat out. At those times the DSG gearbox didn't take the gears down. Instead, it continued from that RPM only. So this is a good thing that Audi has in control. This shows that the engine is not too over enthusiastic in behavior. However, if you are going under 2000 2500 RPM at a certain given point of time and you decide to go flat out, then yes, the gears will come down, and believe me, it can come down by 4 to 5 gears also if the car feels that you are not at the required RPM for the required speed. However, to achieve 3000 3500 RPM with this car, you have to be at triple digit speed. So in normal driving conditions, most of the time this gearbox will be quite relaxed and very calm, but you always have the option of making it a wild animal. Nevertheless, the engine and the gearbox combination is pretty sorted here, and I wouldn't have wanted anything better or anything more to come out of it. The only thing that feels disconnected with the A6 is the steering wheel. Well, at low speeds or even decent city speeds, the response of the steering wheel is not that strong. It feels a bit far weak than what we expected, than what we could have imagined. So below 60 kilometers per hour, you won't feel that the steering wheel is that focused as the engine and the gearbox are. However, after that, the additional weight of the steering wheel starts coming in, and that's when things get better with handling. I would say that if you have to get the kick of the handling, if you have to get the kick of putting it around the corners, you might have to keep the speed above 60 to 70, because that's where the sweet spot of this steering wheel lies. Now moving on to the suspension part. Despite it missing out on the air suspension which came on the earlier A6, I don't feel that the suspension, the comfort of the A6 has gone down by a huge margin. It still feels very plush, very comfortable, very well planted at high speeds. The suspension setup is very balanced over here. It manages to soak up most of the potholes, most of the damaged road course surfaces very easily, and does not even give you the noise of the suspension or an utter bit of discomfort coming in, even if you are seated on the driver's seat or even if you are seated at the back. And even if you are crossing triple digit speeds going cruising on the highway, the car maintains its posture, maintains high speed stability. Lastly, coming out to the braking part, the bite of the brakes is fairly decent. It's quite strong, and you get the feedback even if you have just pressed 10 to 15% of the brake pedal. Now I'll also talk about the different driving aids that the Audi A6 offers. For starters, it gets a hands-free parking system but misses out on a 360-degree camera. Further, it gets the auto start stop system, which is bang on. So even if you just reach a traffic signal and give it 2-3 seconds of idle time, the engine will automatically switch off, even if you are on the drive mode or even if you are on the park mode. If you are on the park mode, then it will not even take 2 to 3 seconds. It will automatically go in the auto start stop system, and if you just move the steering wheel or just press the accelerator, the engine will automatically start. And if you see, the lag between this is barely felt over here. You have the lane assist system. If the sensor senses that you are driving in a lane, it takes over the steering wheel, and if that coupled up with the cruise control, then you can feel relaxed while driving if you are going on some national highways only, or expressways probably, not on the city roads. This is a thing that you shouldn't try on the city roads. Further, it misses out on adaptive cruise control, which I find a feature in a car this expensive should be given. However, the pretty much existence of cruise control in India is not that much. Further, as I told you, it gets paddle shifters and also manual mode on the gearbox. However, you will be using paddle shifters only. You won't be using this manual gearbox that frequently. Now coming on to the verdict of Audi A6, whether it makes a sensible purchase for you or not. Well, let's start with the disadvantages first. It misses out on a diesel engine, so you don't get that extra grunt, extra torque, and the high fuel efficiency mileage. However, the Audi A6 gets a TSI engine, and it's so packed on performance, so packed on exciting drive, that you won't regret missing out on the diesel engine. Further, as I told you earlier, that the Audi A6 tries to maintain a middle ground between a driver's car and a chauffeur's car, and I am very delightful to say that Audi has successfully captured that part with the A6. It's a perfect driver's car and a perfect car if you have to change your seats from the driver to the passenger or vice versa. I may say that it's not best of the world. Yes, in performance, the 5 Series is better. In terms of comfort, the E-Class is better. However, this captures both the conditions, and that's what its USP is. Prices start at rupees 54.2 lakhs going up to 57.2 lakhs ex showroom, which makes it one of the most affordable petrol sedans in its segment. So, if you want to buy the Audi A6, we will suggest you to just look for the comfort of the rear passenger and the driving experience, the adrenaline rush that you will get when you are seated on the driver's seat. So if you liked watching this video, give us a thumbs up, share this video and subscribe to Carblog India. If you have any more doubts, any more questions, then please let us know in the comment section below. This is the Audi A6 45 TFSI. This is your host Tarun Kochar. See you in the next video.